Today, we're diving into a really ambitious initiative happening in Kenya called the Future Leaders Lab. It's basically a blueprint designed to tackle a huge challenge by, get this, completely reshaping the identity of the nation's next generation of leaders.
But to really get what the lab is all about, we first have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. And the source material calls it the crisis of the comrade, which is this deep-rooted challenge that Kenya's university and college students are facing.
So, what exactly is this crisis? Well, it's not just one single thing. Think of it more like a complex web of pressures that's affecting the very people who should be the country's biggest asset, its future leaders. It really boils down to four main things. First, you've got political manipulation, where students are basically used as pawns during elections. Then, there's this ethical vacuum, where things like corruption start to feel, well, normal. Third, an economic dead end. Graduates are stepping into a job market that's just not big enough, and that leads to a lot of frustration. And finally, a technology gap, which is pretty ironic for a country that's often called the Silicon Savannah, right? So, in response to this huge, complicated crisis, the proposal isn't just another small training program. No, it's a full-on national movement. And it's called the Future Leaders Lab. At its very heart, the mission is to re-engineer, and I love that word, the whole identity of the Kenyan University student, the comrade. The goal is to take them from being this politically exploited figure and transform them into a principled, innovative, and peace-driven national asset. I mean, that is a massive reframing of a generation's potential. And the scale here is just, wow. We're talking about a goal to reach over 50,000 students. And not just in Nairobi or a few big cities, but across every single one of Kenya's 47 counties. This thing is designed from the very beginning to be a nationwide transformation. Okay, so how do you even begin to tackle a goal that massive? Well, the lab strategy is built on a really clear four-pillar foundation. Let's take a look at that blueprint.
The whole approach is incredibly comprehensive. Pillar 1 is all about ethical governance. Pillar 2 focuses on marketplace mentorship, so creating jobs. Pillar 3 tackles that tech gap we talked about, bringing in tools like blockchain to boost transparency. And Pillar 4 is dedicated to peace and national cohesion. You can see how each pillar directly targets one part of the crisis we just laid out.
Now, while all four of these are absolutely crucial, we're going to zoom in on that foundational one, ethical governance. This is really the heart of the whole initiative, the effort to grow a totally new kind of political leader in Kenya. And the goal here is crystal clear. Prepare a new generation for public service that's driven by principles and values, not just a hunger for power. It's about getting leaders to see public office for what it is, a public trust. So how do they do it? Through a really practical 5-step curriculum. It all starts with constitutional mastery, making sure leaders actually know the rule of law. Then, ethical campaigning, which is a direct shot at that divisive, tribal-based politics. Next up, public finance accountability, a powerful tool to fight corruption. That's followed by solid policy analysis. And finally, crisis leadership training to give young leaders the tools to handle things like campus unrest in a constructive way. And what's really important here is that this entire pillar is anchored in the Kenyan Constitution itself, specifically Chapter 6, which is all about leadership and integrity, and of course, the Bill of Rights. This makes sure that the new leadership model isn't some idea imported from somewhere else, but that it's grounded firmly in Kenya's own laws and values. Okay, so with this detailed blueprint for ethical governance all laid out, what's the ultimate vision here? I mean, what could the long-term impact on the entire nation actually look like? The whole project is guided by a pretty clear theory of change. The logic is simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Basically, if students get this structured, values-based training, then they will develop the moral compass and the real-world skills they need to participate in society responsibly and to launch ethical businesses. It's a straight line from the action to the result. If this works, the potential long-term impact could be absolutely transformative. We're talking a steady pipeline of ethical leaders entering public service, a real drop in political violence, a boom in youth-led businesses, and a stronger, more unified national identity. At the end of the day, it's about securing the country's future from the ground up. There's a quote from the paper itself that just captures this perfectly. It says the lab is not just a training program, but a national youth transformation architecture. That word architecture really hits home. It tells you how deep this vision goes. It's about building the very framework for Kenya's future leaders. Which, of course, leaves us with this one big, powerful question. The Future Leaders Lab is betting everything that a new generation can, in fact, transform a nation. It's a bold bet on the power of young people to completely redefine what leadership, governance, and national identity look like for an entire country.